One of the biggest mistakes that people often make when trying to balance strength and endurance training is under-eating. They inadvertently put themselves into a massive deficit by not necessarily accounting for the additional energy expenditure that comes from increased training volume. In this video today, I'm going to break down the 5,000 calories that I consume whilst being in a deficit, as well as fueling a 20-mile run.
Yes, good morning, good morning. Good morning, everyone. It has just gone past 5:36 to be precise. Now I'm having my first meal of the day, which is 100 grams of overnight oats with 200 grams of Greek yogurt, 250 milliliters of skim milk, scoop of human 24 plant protein, some raspberry jam, and some frozen raspberries. Calories and macros on the screen. So before we dive into today's video, it is important to set the scene and lay out how I actually approach nutrition and how I'm going to be approaching nutrition today. If you want more context, more detail, then head to video that's up here somewhere as I break things down in a PowerPoint format with a clear guide on how you can approach things that way as well. But the bottom line is today, at the moment, my calorie intake baseline is 2,500 as I'm actually training in a bit of a deficit at the moment just to get rid of some body fat and body weight ahead of a big year. That is accounting for my weight training throughout the week, my sort of daily activity out with endurance volume, and then on endurance volume training days, I will eat back 90% of whatever I burn according to Strava Garmin. That's to account for the inherent inaccuracy that comes with the activity trackers, and just means that if I'm in a deficit, I'm not going to be accidentally overeating and putting myself back into a surplus or out of maintenance, etc. So hopefully that makes sense. What you need to understand for today is that my calorie intake baseline is 2,500. I'm going to go on a long run. You're coming with me. I will then eat back 90% of the calories that I burn on that long run, add those two figures together, and that is what I will eat today. I do this to essentially work to the closest degree of accuracy within a 24-hour window, and it means that when I've got really long training days and I'm in a deficit, or even when I'm not in a deficit, I can eat more on those days because I'm not somebody that gets ravenously hungry on a rest day. I'm somebody that gets ravenously hungry around training. So this psychologically and practically is better for me. Might be the case for you. If you think it might be, then head to the video that was up there earlier, as I've already said. So I'm going to get this consumed. I'm going to do about half an hour, 45 minutes worth of work, because if I don't, the rest of the days are going to be chaotic, and I'll see you downstairs as I top up my fluids. Delicious. So that is Human 24 Rise, which is a blend of caffeine, nootropics, and electrolytes to help kickstart my morning every morning. Generally wait about 90 minutes after waking before I have that so that my adenosine system's up and running and the caffeine can actually have an impact. And having electrolytes first thing is something I'd recommend from a cognitive point of view as well as a performance point of view, especially on a day where you've got a big training session, so you're up and first thing you're doing is getting hydrated. Makes it less likely that you're going to bonk from having your electrolyte balance all out of whack, and just means that you're setting yourself up a little bit more for success. So big recommendation there is to get some electrolytes on board first thing in the morning, every morning if you can. Pretty much everything ready to go this morning, other than my Garmin, which I can't currently find, and I've been pacing around the house for about 15 minutes, unable to source it, and I'm starting to wonder whether I even had it charged. Uh-oh. Okay, so found it, but it is in fact on very low battery, so I'm gonna get that on charge. And yes, that is a little bit foolish from me, and it's gonna put me a little bit behind schedule. At the very least, it means it gives me a little bit more breathing room on the final toilet-related activity that is essential before a long run, if you're catching my drift. Oh.
I see. Nearly stacked it on the GoPro. That would have made for good content. Okay, so just over 5k done, under 30 minutes, sort of exact pace expected to be. Heart rate is off wrist today as my heart rate strap died last week and I just forgot to replace it, so I can already tell heart rate data is a little bit all over the place, which means I'm going off perception feel rather than heart rate today. But that does mean ahead of time the calorie estimate might be higher than it should be, so we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Anyway, food strategies today. Every 5k, 2 cubes of these, calories and macros for which are here, and I will have that every half an hour until I'm done, along with the carbs and electrolytes that are in here. There are 4 scoops of electrolytes and carbs in here, which I'll get through the whole thing, and I'll check in with you every 5k as we go, because I need a hand free to open and consume these. See you very soon. Another 5k down, which means 10k done in just under 57 minutes, which means another 2 chews to keep me steadily sustained. So everything's feeling remarkably smooth. Don't really feel like I've exerted any effort at this point, which is great. Just essentially rebuilding my ultra endurance base at this point in the year. Q4 of last year post double Brucer was kind of going through the motions rather than full send training, so it's nice to be back with a clear focus, a clear plan, and to just be out bashing about building some volume. So gonna have these and see you in another 5 kilometers time. Okay, so just at 15k in just over 126, I'm gonna have a Saurine mini loaf, which are arguably the best endurance fuel of all time. Feeling still pretty good, although whenever I am out of the wind, temperature does feel a little bit spicier, so I might get rid of this mid layer at the 2-hour mark. We'll see. Essentially at this time of year it's difficult to regulate temperature because the wind makes it into the minuses, whereas when it's still it's sort of sitting at 2-3 degrees. But yeah, wind chill this morning was about -3-ish, feels like, so it is what it is. And 20k in 154.54. So I'm going to turn around here and yeah, see where we end up. So feeling solid. I'm going to get 2 more chews in me. My hand's quite cold though, so I'll reach for those once I've got hands free. But yeah, feeling good. Pretty still day along the coast now, which is nice. Lots of fantastic dogs kicking around. And amazingly, I saw a blue Bugatti Chiron just outside of Musselburgh, which is not something you see every day. So fun fact, we've seen some dogs, we've seen a Chiron. What will we see next? In the last 5 minutes, the wind has really picked up, definitely making a difference to my effort level. It's gone from being quite still to quite a serious headwind. So yeah, brief for today was basically between 3 and 4 hours. Set out with the intention of being closest to the 4 mark, if not at the 4 mark, but might call it closest to 3 depending on how much this affects me. But essentially it's just time in zone 2. So if the wind is affecting that sort of approach, then I've got the flexibility today to scale around it, which is great. And I think why it's important when you're training through the winter to give yourself that flexibility, because the conditions can make such an impact on the plan. So update there, 25k down, wind has not improved, so I'm starting to feel a little bit more effort in my legs, but it is what it is. I've just had another Saurine loaf, which was actually a little bit claggy, so definitely starting to hit a point where effort's starting to kick in. So hopefully you can hear this because the wind is quite aggressive, but still moving well. Still sticking to the every 30 minutes, every 5k give or take, and water-wise, just sipping sort of every 5 minutes or so, more or less. I'm probably going to need to stop and top it up though, so we'll find out. Okay, job done. 20 miles complete, 32.21k, average pace 5:51, just under 3 hours and 10 minutes. Wind did take more energy from me than anticipated, so I just thought I'd call it at this point so not to accumulate excessive fatigue. The purpose of this session was just to build volume in zone 2, and there's no point in overstretching and putting myself in a state of fatigue that isn't going to help the week to come. And I do have an absolutely mental February coming up, so I'll update you on that once we're back at the house.
Run complete, shower complete, and feeling phenomenal. I have here 2 Heck chicken burgers with 2 bacon medallions in each, some spinach, some peronaise, some sriracha, and 2 bagel thins. Calories and macros on the screen just here. And I'm going to eat these, and then we'll do a bit of a debrief on the run, nutrition as a whole, and assess where we are at this point in the day. If you are hearing any snoring in the background, that is in fact this gentleman here.
Hi, I was just Sandra, did I say that?
No, you didn't. Hi, I'm Kathy.
Kathy, with a K or a C?
With a K.
Hey.
Me and the homies chilling after my, not there, unfortunately, lunch. So let's break down where I am at this point in the day. My baseline is 2,500 calories. On that run there, I burnt 2,789 calories according to Garmin and Strava's estimate. The thing I mentioned earlier where the heart rate seemed a little bit all over the place was only momentary, sorted itself out. So 2,789 times 0.9, 90% estimate to err on the side of caution, leaves us with 2,510. At this point, I have consumed 2,373 calories. On that run, I consumed 931 calories, 220 grams of carbs, which is about 75 grams of carbs per hour, just under, which is exactly where I want it to be, really. Feeling good at this point, no sort of fatigue, no sort of pain in my legs or anything. I'm feeling quite well hydrated, so can't really complain. Hopefully everything is making sense at this point in the video in terms of how I approach nutrition. If you do have any questions, drop them in the comments down below, or check the top link in description for my previous video with PowerPoint, detail, etc. And it will have appeared at the top of the screen at some point thus far, and at the end as well. So I am going to get a little bit of work done. It's just coming up to 1 PM, and I will catch up with you for some more sustenance very soon. You guys wanna walk? I'm not gonna lie, that was a little underwhelming given I had a camera in your face. Look at the damage you've done to all these toys, Holly.
Pig, wait, pig, wait. Pig! No! Stop it!
So Pig ruined that for everybody involved, and now they both need a bath. Harley probably would have done anyway, in fairness to Pig. So all is not lost, but that's something I'm going to have to sort this evening. Alongside heading to Lidl now to grab myself some essential ingredients for the dinner that I have planned this evening. So essential that if they don't have them, which is increasingly likely as I've just realised it's getting later on a Sunday, I am going to head off to Lidl and pray that they have what I need. Oh, you beauty. What do you think, Peg? Oh. None for you. None for you. Not one, but two pizzas on pre-made basis from Lidl, which are absolutely phenomenal if you're in the UK and have not yet made use of them. If you are a pizza making person, making dough is great, it's good fun. Yes, it tastes delicious, but it's a pain in the arse. You've got to give it 24 hours and plan ahead, etc, etc. So I have two pizzas to get through. I'm gonna chop into one, grab a days from the fridge, and see you in the living room to update on calories, etc, etc, as I have a YouTube video to upload in 9 minutes. What an evening. Part one of two, looking delicious, smelling fantastic. I am excited. I also have a alcohol-free lager from Days. It's actually my second of the evening. I had one whilst I was making the pizza, but I am big into alcohol-free beers at the moment because tomorrow is a Monday. Mondays are full send for me. I'm normally at my desk for about 6 in the morning. I'm there till about 9 because it's sort of where I devote a huge chunk of the week to one business and just get ahead of the week as much as I can. And I often find, do I not have a solid Monday, I feel like I'm chasing my tail the rest of the week. So last thing I want to do is affect my sleep tonight. Big training session today. Don't want to inhibit my recovery with some booze. So alcohol-free lager it is. And if you would like to give it a go, I'm recording this still during dry January, which is a thing in the UK. I don't know if it's a thing in the States, but nonetheless, if you are taking part in dry January and would like to keep it up, or you would just like to give some alcohol-free lager a go, use the code FergusDays for 30% off. Anyway, here we go. Phenomenal. Okay, now that my rabid hunger has somewhat settled as I have had a slice, let's break down the information and data. So dinner is currently sitting at 2,175 calories, just here for you. 2 pizza bases, 250 grams of mozzarella, 40 grams of parmesan, 8 slices of chorizo, some pizza sauce, and then 2 days lagers. So I have hit my protein goal above and beyond for the day. I have consumed a lot of carbs and I've consumed a lot of fat. And at this point, given that I'm sort of eating quite high up, I don't really put too much emphasis on the actual macronutrients. As long as I've hit my protein goal, beyond that I kind of just eat back the calories and don't get too worried about it. Obviously when I'm sort of peaking and prepping for races and events, I'll put a little bit more emphasis on it, but right now in the off season, not too much of a focus. So I'm gonna get this pizza consumed. I'm gonna go and get the second pizza from the kitchen and get that consumed, and then I will catch up with you shortly for the rest of my calories this evening. And part 2. Two pizzas consumed, one good time had. I now have a cup of decaf Earl Grey and some espresso caramel, lower calorie, higher protein ice cream. Details just on the screen for you there. I am conscious I've spent a lot of time in this room today talking to you, which isn't all that alluring in terms of angle variety, location variety, which is very, very much not YouTube 101. But this is where I've spent most of my day, working from my laptop amidst just being around the dogs so they remain happy, content, and with smiles on their faces. So I will do a full debrief upstairs at my desk as I'm finishing a few things off that require a bit more of my attention this evening. It is just gone 7 PM as I've uploaded the YouTube video. I'm not going to dive into comments. It's on deadlift mistakes you might be making, this thumbnail here. If you've seen it and watched it and enjoyed it, do let me know in the comments down below, as it's off to a bit of a slow start. So what's that about? Anyway, I'm gonna get my ice cream and my cup of tea down me, and I will see you upstairs.
So let's break everything down. Totals on the screen for you just here. So I hope that paints a good picture of a reality as a hybrid athlete where you do need to eat more calories than you regularly would because your energy expenditure is higher. I've fortunately always had a really quite monstrous appetite. Me and my brother have always been the same. The only arguments in our household growing up were about food, and we were both rather chunky in our teenage years. So we've gone full circle, but nonetheless, I have fortunately never had to really worry too much about force feeding myself after big sessions or anything. I've always been hungry, which can be one of the limitations of training this way if you really do bump up volume, because you can inadvertently put yourselves in a deficit. That's where cardio can kill your gains, that's where recovery can be inhibited, and that's where your adaptation to endurance volume can be inhibited, because you're effectively not fueling the furnace, fueling the engine as much as it requires. So I would recommend that you do monitor, track, however you want to do that, your food intake around your training so that you make sure you're eating enough, and how anal or focused you want to be with that in the long term is completely up to you. I've always tracked through MyFitnessPal because I found it easy. I've been used to it for years, and I need to consciously track so not to overeat because of said monstrous appetite. So just a quick reminder that if you are looking for hybrid training services or products, then head to the description down below as well, where you can check out Omnia Performance, John and I's coaching business, where we have over 1,200 athletes currently active worldwide, which is fantastic and gets me so excited if you would like to join us. And I hope that has been informative. There will be more full days of eating to come this year, as I appreciate it's something people are really interested in. But I want to really make crystal clear, don't do what I do today. Use the PowerPoint presentation from the previous video to understand what you should be doing, and then make that work over time. Okay, thank you very much. Make sure to like the video, comment down below with your thoughts, feelings, suggestions, anecdotes, or otherwise, and do please hit subscribe, as it will make me very pleased, and not quite as pleased as 2 pizzas on a Sunday night does, but it'll put a smile on my face like this. Cheers. Goodbye.